guys. Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Boy, do we have a treat for you. So welcome to the Publishers Circle.
Woo! We need like the streamers.
I know, right? we're thinking about dance party. It will probably have to happen. We're just rolling like that. But the Publishers Circle, so this is where we're going to be having yummy conversations about how we are, we as empowered leaders and wayshowers and visionaries, how we are changing the publishing world and also incorporating our own unique soul purpose to it. So today's topic is passion and purpose. We'll see where it takes us. But before we begin, we're going to go around so you can get to know everyone on here. So yeah, let's begin. I can go first. My name is Abigail. Hello, everyone. I am the founder of the Moon Goddess Publishing and the Moon Goddess Academy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hala Citron with I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing.
I'm so honored to be here with you amazing ladies. Nicolette Halliday here with Inspired Hearts Publishing.
I'm Bridget Eileen Cisco. I'm founder of Exalted Publishing House.
Welcome, everybody. Happy to be here. My name is Melissa Chernow. I'm a voice and visibility coach and the founder of Cardinal Publishing House.
Woo! This is so delicious. So where do we even begin? Where do we begin with this passion and purpose and publishing and soul path? And where do we want to start with this?
I would love to begin with this idea of this publishing circle and how we are creating this massive ripple. And not only are we here to elevate each other, to support each other, but to bring others in, other entrepreneurs, visionaries, leaders, and elevate their voice, elevate their story. And it's amazing. It's an amazing work that we're in. And yeah.
Yes.
Amen. When you said that, it made me think of how we all are giving women, visionaries, leaders, a microphone, a megaphone, a platform to share. And if you really think about what we're doing as publishers with the people we get to work with, we're changing this industry in many ways because there's not these massive gatekeepers anymore who will tell you, no, like the manuscript is not for you. This is an open space for people to come in wherever they are on their journey. And to me, that just feels exciting. And I see the nods. So we're like, yes.
Yeah. It's like a permission slip while also an accessible, like the accessibility of it, right? I don't care your background or if you consider yourself a writer, right? But you have a story to share. And we're here to give you the platform and the space and the community to do that in a way that feels really good in your body, really aligned with your values, and just is so in integrity with the life that you're living. So
that was so delicious. Feel good in your body. I feel like that's such a key there, right? When we bring these amazing people into our containers and we walk them through those journey, it is, I know all of you have had this experience where you get the feedback like, I had no idea that this is going to be changing my life, right? I thought I was just going to write my chapter and that's it, and now I'm rearranging things in my business and my life. It's such a transformational journey that we get to spearhead. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
And I think allow the space. For a while, I would say safe space. It's a safe space. But recently, when I was talking to someone on my podcast, it came up a nurtured space where they said they create a nurtured space. And I was like, I love that, because I think nurtured is like a bigger umbrella of a word, because it's kind of like providing the energy and it's just helping to grow. It's like planting a seed and then helping for it to grow. And maybe it starts to sprout during the time that they're with us. And then it just continues and continues. It's just nurturing. And because so many people, like you said, had no idea didn't know where it was going to go. And the effects, it's so friggin' empowering. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, Hollis, because throughout this journey, like you are met with a growth edge here and a growth edge there. And we're not just saying, okay, go walk the plank. Like we are holding you in this space that might feel a little uncomfortable at times, right? I think that's how you know you're onto something good. That's when you know you're growing and expanding and learning and staying curious. And so I love that, just like planting a seed illustration.
So I'm curious, go ahead, Hollis.
No, go.
So I'm curious, do you guys remember when you were part of your like your first multi-author book that you were part of? How was that like for you?
I can say that I honestly didn't understand the power of it. I just like we were saying, I didn't understand the power. It's like, okay, I'll tell my story. And then I sat down and I was like, oh, wow, that happened and that happened and that happened. And it's our story. So we don't realize the power of our story because we're in it. It's like but then when you sit down and you kind of put it down into words, it has a different effect. And you're like, wow, I'm pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And then
I think there's something that it's hard to put into words. And I tell people that, and it's like, okay, like, is this a sales pitch? And it's like, no, really, when you sit down and reflect on this moment in time and then, share it in a way that other people it's inviting other people into your experience. And so for me, it was a combination of, oh my gosh, I'm putting myself out there. And yeah, I did that. And I'm really proud of this experience that I've been on. And now I get to share it. And the response from other people was like, it was that invitation and it was an opportunity for connection. So that was like my favorite part about the first time I contributed a chapter.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm thinking of two things that happened for me. The first was it was this new space to share my story and to share parts of myself. And in looking back, I noticed I held back. I held back about actually speaking about myself and my story. So that was huge. And then the second thing that was huge is I changed my entire business after I was of a multi-author book. Like I completely pivoted. And as so many people explain it to me is like the books are an initiation and we don't even know what we're being initiated into.
Yeah.
But there's something, there's something else. And that was my experience.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm remembering mine. Mine was Empire Moms. I remember the invitation coming through and I resisted for the longest time because I was brand new. Like my son was probably like a month old. And I was like, I don't know anything about, I just started. I have no clue. And I remember Adriana was like, you got this. You got a story. There's a reason why you're invited. And there's a reason why you're in here. And so I sat with it and I wrote my story about being a first-time mom and the changes I was going through, which I was making it look small, like, oh, it's nothing. Every mom goes through this. And it just, afterwards, it blew my mind because I was like, I want to tell more stories. I want to do more. But there's that scary part, right? There's that part of you're like, I don't know about this. Who wants to hear my story? My story is just nothing, right? Yeah, it's a very interesting and powerful journey.
I think when you were talking about your story, Abigail, of being that first mom, that's the beautiful thing about these containers is it's meeting people where they're at right now. So someone might have just been just starting on whatever the journey is or along the way, or, have had years past and now they get to come back and reflect on it. So it's like all these people connecting around this theme and this experience at different times in their life.
Absolutely. Yeah. When did you know that creating this container, what word am I looking for? like this space, this sacred space where people can come and tell their story. When did you feel called to it? When did you know it was a clear yes to you? And what did you do about that calling?
For me, it was a few days before launch day of the first book that I was participating in. And I was just reflecting on the experience as a whole and the growth that I had experienced as a result of participating in something like this. And I was like, if there's any way that I can do this and offer this to my community and my clients, it's an absolute yes. Yet I allowed myself to sit in that energy and cultivate the space within me to be able to hold a container like this. And so I was doing the behind the scenes stuff for almost a full year, I want to say, more than. Just kind of chipping away at it and getting more familiar and comfortable and watching some of you, right? And seeing how you would express yourself and invite people into something like that. But just being in it and recognizing what a transformational journey it is and how much it paired with just my personal story of liberating my voice and speaking my truth and not biting my tongue when I'm uncomfortable and things like that. I was like, what better way to burst that bubble than to become an internationally best-selling author? Like, it's like the complete opposite. So yeah, it was pretty clear, but I let it simmer. I let that seed really grow its roots before speaking about it publicly.
For me, I had been supporting other publishers on the back end, doing all the behind the scenes, and I loved it. I loved seeing the growth, and people were so excited. Everyone just felt so connected, and like this, all of everyone's intentions around making this a successful endeavor and the energy that was percolated. And so it felt so aligned with my skill set, and kind of all of the things kind of felt like it lined up. But then I had this desire to lead the vision. I kind of felt like, okay, I'm picking up the torch. And and so once I knew, I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And, quick and decisive action wins the day. And that's what I did, and haven't looked back. So
you came out from behind the scenes.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next book coming out.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that I had been in the multi-author book, and then there was just kind of like things started popping up of check out this opportunity. And I decided to join the 3-day and check it out. And it just kind of resonated. I was like, you know what? And then I stepped back for a little bit and was thinking, and then I just started thinking about it all the time. And then I was just getting really excited about it. And I was like, it's telling stories. Like it's telling in anything that I do, through anything of what I offer and do from my heart. It's about telling stories and sharing stories and listening. And it just felt so good. So I really haven't, like today I had 3 opportunities present where I'm like, it's just electrifying. It's like, oh my God, like more people can share, more people can be heard, more people can express. And that's the purpose.
So delicious.
I'm trying to think about what was the path, and I'm somewhat very logical. And at this time, when I was presented with the opportunity of starting the publishing house, I had been helping female entrepreneurs use live video as a sales outlet or as a way to express themselves and get better at their messaging. And it was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of logical sense. Let's pair the 2 together. I can teach both. It's fun for me. But what my heart was really saying was, Bridget, you love community. You love building community. Like that is your thing. It's actually your spiritual name. Like it is very much a part of who you are to the core. So the 2 just came together And here we are.
Yep.
I remember you, Bridget, when you announced that you're starting a publishing house. And I was like, what is she doing now? I was so excited. But my experience, I got the invitation and I was like, me? Publish what? No, that's not part of my purpose. I got work to do. Like, that's not part of it. And I'm telling you, like, I could not, just like with Hollis, I could not stop thinking about it to the point where I would ask my husband, I was like, what do you think? If I, start a publishing house, what do you think about this name? What do you think about this book? And I was like, wait a minute, what is happening? I haven't even decided, but I just could not stop thinking about it. So I actually stepped in on faith, if that makes sense, because I had no idea why I was being called to even be, create a container like that. So I stepped in faith, and now it's like, it's getting clearer and clearer. I don't have to know the entire thing. All I know is that the calling was very powerful and I had to say yes, so, and here I am.
Yay.
And I think too, I couldn't stop thinking about it either, but I was also like, I knew my first book title for months and I started seeing the word, like the title everywhere. And then in conversation, it was coming up and I was like, yeah, it's time, it's a go. And so it is stepping in faith in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it because when we are willing to step in faith, when we're willing to take the leap, when we're willing to say, okay, I'm following this nudge and I'm trusting, a lot of trust. It's like we're giving other people permission to do that too. And that's a lot of what joining in these containers, becoming published, being so visible, sharing your story, especially, some of the most vulnerable stories sometimes. It's like, that's why I like to say it's a ripple, because people see it and it gives them permission. It's not like we want to give them permission, but sometimes people feel like they need it. And it's an invitation to share. And so I have a question for you guys. Like, what is the, what is the thing that like settles in your heart? Like someone shared, like, oh my gosh, someone who has written this chapter in one of your containers. What did they, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what sticks in your mind? Like someone shared something and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm doing this. This is the reason.
I feel it's an honor. Like, it's like you've trusted me to be able to, you've trusted me to create this space where you can share and feel safe doing it. So that's the immediate response. It just feels like an honor. And I think that's these spaces that we do for these multi-author books, because they are more known now, and is that we're accessible. It's not like this big publishing house where you never hear from anybody, or once in a while you get an email and you don't really know who you're talking to and all of this kind of stuff. Like we're accessible.
Yeah, it's a lot more than a publishing house. I mean, really, anyone who's participated in any kind of like similar experience understands that the connection, the collaboration, the training, really us holding space for people to be so vulnerable is a lot more than you're going to get if you, go with some kind of traditional publisher.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just started my publishing company a few months ago. And so we're still enrolling for our first book. Yes, massive celebrations. But I will never forget the very first person who joined. She had reached out to me and she's like, I absolutely want to do this. And I'm really scared. And so we were able to have an honest conversation where we both stood in integrity with our hearts and where we were. And it was just so beautiful and gives me chills to think about the way she led herself through that experience, right? I was just holding the space. We all hold the space and offer resources and solutions and are there genuinely to support every single person. but she was in her leadership. She was leading with her heart, trusting herself, and was able to guide herself to the outcome she desired, but originally shared that she was scared of. And I was just like, do you see what just happened? Oh my God. Because you can do that here, and you can take that and apply it to any other situation. I was like, that's gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
love it.
Melissa.
Mm.
To answer Nicolette's question, some of the topics that have been in some of my books about legacy and lineage and like familial ties have been somewhat heavy. They're not very light topics. And I love that because it humanizes us, you know, as people. A lot of us have been through some really intense things on this planet. And when you write about it in a way that says, I experienced this, but I don't identify with the heaviness and the density of such thing, it shaped me in the most beautiful way. And then we can write about that and then share that with others. To me, that's the greatest blessing that I was able to see, that these are really human topics.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to speak about them in a way that doesn't hold us down in that thing, but allows us to be free in it.
The realness of it.
Yeah.
Power.
Bringing
love
humanity to leadership.
Yeah. I love that, what you said, because there is a transformation in that when someone steps in and chooses to give voice to the experiences. I know in Miraculous, like I was always shaken after I read someone's story, because I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you know, you hear miracles that go on in the world, you know, but to actually have it right there where it is, I can't even put a word to how that feels, to hold a container where people can come in and be like, this is how I experience life, and this is how I move through it, and this is how you can also move through it. Like, wow, it humbles me. It humbles me. And it also just like, it motivates me to bring more of this into the world. Like, yes, we're all going through a lot, but there's always the light at the end of the heck, you make your own light. Even though, you know, make your own light, because that's what these people, you know, these women and men in our books are doing. They're creating their own light in the world, in their life, you know, and that's just, it blows my mind. And it just makes this so delicious to do.
Because we're all made up of stories.
Yeah.
So we're all stories. So it's just power to be able to share it. And I love so much of what was said of that. It doesn't define it. They've happened to us. It's kind of like being a victim to your circumstance or your expansion and your growth. And that's what so much of this is about. Is expansion.
It's like standing in your power and saying, you know, my thoughts can be like the stab in my heart. I think Abigail will get that. Or I can stand in the power that I'm moving through this. And now I'm in this moment where I can share with the world what I've been through, and standing in my power and saying, this happened. I experienced this. And now I'm sharing about it. It's brave and it's courageous, and it makes leaders. It's like Melissa was saying, that's what makes leaders, is people standing in their power, in their authentic truth, and saying, this is me, all of me, and you can either take me or leave me. I'm not going to be anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also, the community aspect of it. I know, Bridget, you can talk more about this, where you're not doing it alone. You know, like, you're nervous, you're afraid, like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to come up. But you're like, oh my gosh, but I'm doing it with like 10, 20, 30 more people who are all feeling the same way, but we're doing it together. Like, I think that's a game changer right there, you know, versus if it was just you and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, it's a is a game changer to walk the path with others who get what you're going through. Yeah.
Melissa and I were talking about this today. A lot of us have the story that the only way to do it is on our own, right? From school and group projects, or maybe when we worked at a certain job. And I think that what these projects do is they say pish posh to that, and they say, here's another way. We can actually link arms and have a lot more fun doing this together, expand our reach, and not feel alone, because we're just never alone. We're never alone. Like the five of us here, we're never alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
And I love the piece about allowing it to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I took life so seriously for so long, and sometimes I still get caught up in that, right? But like, can we remember that we're here to enjoy ourselves, to enjoy the relationships that we get to build, to enjoy being out in nature and just be silly, be fun, like let our guard down and let that be okay. Let that be what activates us, what leads us, I just think that's such an important piece of this. And these books get to be fun, and they are, because of the different pieces that we all incorporate into the process. And so it's just a really beautiful way to allow every individual to shine, and not, sometimes the stories are serious, but the process doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I love that.
And it doesn't have to be
that
perfect.
happens. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
What's that when you were kids and you said the same word? What did they say?
Like
You want me to say that?
You mean
A kombucha.
Kombucha. Yes, thank you. We are.
Know your audience.
Exactly, Bridget.
Oh man.
Oh, I can't even remember what I was going to say. Now, Hollis, take on. Go on. You got it.
Listen, it doesn't have to be perfect.
That's a good.
It's that perfectionism thing. I mean, I've been caught up in that for a long time, and it's exhausting. Not saying, just feeling for me that I don't know how it presented on the outside, but it'd be like, oh, well, I can't do that until, or if I did present, and then I would, because teaching for so long, I would like be hard on myself for every step. Well, that didn't work, and that wasn't right, and that didn't feel good. So it all felt like crap. Like, it just didn't feel good because of that negativity. So it's kind of gotten to a point, like to your point, Melissa, it's so true. Like, it's letting loose, and it's not, it's more fun, like be in the flow of the process, and it's done, not perfect.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer that the only type of perfection is imperfection. And so when you embrace that and you allow that, then it gets to be really fun. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. How many, I can't, countless projects that died because they weren't good enough. Like, out of all the hours I put in, and then it was just like, no, it's not going to happen. And when you start loosening up and just being easy and letting it be easy, then it's like, oh, look at all that I was preventing from coming through just because I got in my own way. Right. And I love that we're modeling that you can do things. You don't have to be an expert. It doesn't have to look all stuffy and professional, and it can be really true to you, because each one of us does this process in our own way. We all are, bringing people through, and the public, all of it, the whole, from start to finish, we run our businesses very differently and in a way that makes sense for us, but it doesn't have to seem like it's perfect. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know. I would like to, I think we're at a point where we can stop, because we're going to be continuing this conversation. So let's save some for later. We can talk about this for a long time, because there's just so much about it. And we're so excited to bring this chat to you, and so you can learn about this process and, see how amazing and how fun it can be and how simple it can be. And, why is being presented at this time for you as an opportunity for you to activate your voice and your story. So to end this, let's go around, and I know each of us are working on a multi-author book right now. So let's go around and share your project and who you're looking for in your project.
Who's
I'll
go. So Invisible No More, Stepping into the Spotlight. And it's going to launch April 8th. So there's still, for the people just coming into the space, there is still time to write. There's still a good solid 3 weeks or so. And it's really for people of how that resonates with you, what invisibility means. It means a lot of different things to different people. It could be something from trauma. It could be worthiness. It could be shyness. It could be kind of a combination of still being seen, but not being authentic. There's lots of different ways you could be an actress on a stage, an actor on a stage, but still feel invisible. So I'm looking, I have about 5 more slots, and it's exciting. So yeah, I'd love to chat with you if it resonates.
I just have to say, what a progression for people who felt invisible, and this opportunity to get to share about it. Like, talk about a portal, right? Of moving through that. Awesome. Can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
I'll go next, I guess. The book that I'm currently bringing in contributors for is called The Voyage and the Return, The Path to Self-Discovery. And it's really full of stories of incredible women who have been on a voyage of some kind. And, whether they moved to a different country where they didn't know anyone, or uprooted their family in pursuit of a dream, ditched a corporate career to start some kind of unconventional business. But then on the other side of that, it's also about stories of women who have had a voyage thrusted upon them. So having to maneuver through, death or a divorce diagnosis, where inevitably, that voyage was internal, and all the stories have a return back to themselves and the lessons they learned along the way. And my intention for the book is to inspire people to be courageous and to do the unpredictable and to take the leap and to live on their own terms. And those are the stories that are coming in. So if that sounds like you, then I'd love to visit.
Beautiful.
Wow. Powerful word, voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good. So focused. Beautiful. Beautiful. I have 2 that I'll share. One is just like Hollis. I have a book called Prosperity Codes that is going to be coming out end of April. It is Prosperity Codes, How to Attune to and Attract Wealth, Joy, and Abundance. So think of this as like your go-to how-to guide, all things manifestation, money mindset, attuning to wealth, attracting wealth, talking about it. So if you have a story about like money and you love to talk about it, join us. And the second one, this is in its messy stage, to be very honest, but it is book 3 of my She Speaks series of Legacy, Lineage, and Divinity Speaks. Women who lead with heart in their life and business. We're working on the title. So I'm just going to be super honest and imperfect about it. But if something about the word divinity does literally speak to you,
I love your She Speaks.
Beautiful. Yes.
I love it.
Power.
What a heartbeat in this room. My goodness. Whew. So the book that I'm enrolling for is called Changemakers, Paving a New Pathway on Purpose. So this is for leaders who are really living intentional lives. And this can be in your personal life or your professional life, right? Like Nicolette mentioned, if you dropped out of corporate world, or maybe you were fired and it was the greatest blessing that ever happened, right? You intentionally chose how you were going to move through that space and into something greater, into your desires, into the life that you've always dreamed of. Or professionally, like became an entrepreneur, and what was your story? What was the path to becoming that? And the stories that I love the most and we're welcoming into this book are like, what was the moment you decided? What was that like? And what were all of the textures that were present in that moment? Because it's not always clear as day, I know I'm doing this. There's a lot of emotion that's present. And I want this book to be a really honest transmission of what it's like to choose something for yourself or for the greater mission, vision. And it isn't always clear. It isn't always cut and dry. Like there's a lot that can be present. And so can we just be more transparent with that?
It can be messy, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
It can be messy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Changemakers. Yeah.
I love it. So I love the intention behind it. Just living intentionally. Just the idea of that. Just it's exciting. So many people are just like going through the motions of life. It's such an invitation.
And the word textures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that has been a really activating word lately.
Word.
I wrote a post on it. So this is a great example of not biting your tongue, which I did. I wrote a post on it months ago about like, show me your texture. I want to see your wrinkles. I want to see your fears. I want to see what makes your heart come alive, all of it. And I'm in a program right now. I was telling Bridget, and this woman activates me. Long story short, she's like, show me your texture. And I'm like, but it's an invitation, right? I'm putting all these things together, launching a book called Changemakers.
Oh my gosh.
I'm asking other people to show me their textures. Where do I get to show mine?
It is. Abigail and I have talked about, I think I've talked about it with Bridget, maybe even Hollis. These books are portals. It's like, you want to write a book about, you want to publish a book about changemakers, do you?
Is that really what I signed up for? Because
maybe you did. Like, I think that was in like the hit, like small, like really small text. Like when you put forth the book, prepared for like a portal of growth and all that comes with that, as we know. So.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. So I have 2 books currently that I'm accepting applications for. The first one is Oracle. This one charges me. It's so delicious. I'm calling in women who are channels, who are oracles, who have the ability to, tune into the divine and bring through powerful messages that can shift you when you read it. So Oracle is just women. And I'm really getting a sense that the main intention behind it, the seed behind it, is to activate more women in the oracular, soul path or gift. The second book is the Book of Activations. If you know me, you know I love activations. It's my life. So I was like, why, especially books that are channeled activations, there's nothing like that. You just grab a book that you open to a random page and you read an activation and boom, you got it. Right. And I was like, I want to create something like that. So it's and it's co-ed. So it's both women and men that I'm calling in that book who have the ability to bring through powerful codes of activation so that when people just touch the book, they get activated, and so I'm really excited for these books. If you feel drawn to it, if you're feeling this magic, definitely let's chat. What I'm going to do actually is collect all of the links from everyone and I'll place it in the video so you can find each and everyone's project and you can just click and go check them out, apply for your book. It'll make it easier. So, yeah. Nicolette, don't let me forget that. Okay.
Okay. I'll remind you. I'll try to remember. Yeah. I was kind of giggling to myself because Abigail has like sent me multiple books on activation. I was thinking about you and this book came in. So it's like so perfect that you're like putting together this book because you're pretty activating. So
yes, you are.
Thank you, Hollis. Thank you. I love you, ladies. So we're gonna end, but thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah, we're going to continue. You're going to see us again. We're going to continue this amazing chat. And we love you so much. And we hope to see you in our transformative contain us.
Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.